Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. Normally I don't do this program by myself, but today, it looks like I'm going to be all by my little lonesome. Now, for those of you who do not know, Mike is actually he's actually doing a conference today. And he is going to be popping in he's going to be able to pop in sometime during the show. So if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my screen to see, if he has been able to log in. Also, joining me as a guest host is going to be Rick Ector of Legally Armed in Detroit. He is currently having some technical difficulties, but he's working on it, so he should be here pretty soon. Once again, if you keep seeing me look over there, it's because I'm just kind of keeping an eye out for when Rick shows up. But until then, it's going to be a party. It's going to be a party with us, me and you. So whatever you guys do, hey, do us a favor. Please remember, however you are watching us, you can comment at that particular venue, and I will be able to respond to you and talk to you about whatever it is that you have to say. That's why we usually call it Feedback Friday, because we get feedback. We engage with you and talk with you and take your comments and stuff like that. And if we like what we hear, well, then you get a free gift. But once again, got to hear from you and got to like what we hear. You don't have to agree. It's just got to be, it's got to be interesting. You know what I mean? So do us a favor. Invite your friends to join the conversation. All you got to do, by the way, remember, all you got to do is like and share. And if you watch us on YouTube or on Facebook, make sure, by the way, you hit that notification button. That way you'll be notified every time we go live. Then you can participate in the live chat as the program is taking place. And, you can have an opportunity to possibly win some free stuff. Let folks know they can watch us on Facebook, they can watch us on YouTube, they can watch us on Rumble, although we're not live on Rumble, or you can listen to the podcast. The podcast is also, unfortunately, not live, but you can listen to us anywhere you get your podcast. You can listen to us there. You can also watch us on OpsLens. So there are plenty of places, plenty of opportunities for you to check us out. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get into today's news stories. All right, starting at the top of the list, towing the party line. It's always interesting when Democrats start talking about, whenever Democrats want to pass legislation, the first thing that they do is they accuse Republicans of being a monolith. The first thing they say is, Republicans they're scared to break ties or break from party lines. The way in which they generally tend to talk about it is they're always kind of pushing Democrats are always open to new ideas. They're always open to the idea of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're always open to quote unquote compromise. Well, you and I know everything else, but we know that they are everything else but really interested in compromise. What their goal is, quite frankly, their goal is to basically get Republicans to turn away. And generally, what you find, though, is almost every single time there has been some sort of compromise, it's almost always been Republicans who have actually gotten away from or changed their perspective in order to meet Democrats halfway. And that's what exactly this piece here in Politico. This is a piece in Politico. It's talking about House Republicans, House Endangered Species, Republicans who break from the base. And it goes on to talk about Republicans who are unwilling, in particular when it comes from January 6th, the January 6th committee and their unwillingness to participate in the January 6th committee, which, by the way, there were a couple of Republicans who did. But here was the reason why they had an issue with the January 6th committee, because Republican leadership didn't get to decide what Republicans were going to be on it. They picked a couple of Trump haters, a couple of anti-Republican Republicans. They talk about guns, right? And once again, the reason why Republicans don't, let me take that back. You actually have a group of Republicans who are actually voted for the legislation that came out of the House right? They voted for legislation that came out of the House that is really bad anti-Second Amendment legislation, and every Republican who voted for it they are either not returning or they should not be returned to office. But what's funny is they never talk about Democrats. Democrats almost never compromise. In fact, the only Democrat that you can look at or talk to or think about that has actually compromised on anything has been either Sinema, the senator from Arizona, who would not support the massive Build Back Better. It really is, because nothing was going to get built, nothing was going to be back, and trust me, if it passed, nothing was going to be better. But they didn't support it. Kristen Sinema, as well as Joe Manchin. Number one, neither one of them is willing to support the idea of ending the filibuster. Neither one of them was willing to support Build Back Better. And once again, they're just looking at the facts and they're deciding, what they're going to do. And because of that, you have Democrats, you have people in their own party who have actually turned against them, flat out turned against them, and are doing everything possible to make sure that they don't have an opportunity to continue to serve. They've called them traitors. They've called them everything evil under the sun. But yet it's the Republicans who never break away. I just look right here in the state of California when they passed a massive tax increase under Arnold Schwarzenegger. Back then it required a 2/3 vote to do something like that, to institute a tax or to institute to do something like that. And it was, once again, Republicans, because they didn't have a supermajority back then. It was Republicans who decided to go with them on that. So I don't care what you say. I mean, I look at it this way. First of all, when it comes to compromising, there's a reason why there are two parties, right? The two parties, anyone who says the two parties are exactly alike doesn't know anything about politics or is being intellectually lazy. I'm just going to say that. If you don't think there's a reason for the difference and there's a difference between the two parties, then you're being intellectually lazy. I'm not saying there's not good in both parties. I'm not saying that there's not bad in both parties. I'm just saying that you're being intellectually lazy because a lot of it has to do with the relationship they have with government, right? Democrats want more government in general. Republicans in general want less government. They want less government involved less in our lives. And I know what you're going to say. All right, when a lot of libertarians or liberals say, well, but they're the ones who want to get all in marriage and into abortion and stuff like that. Okay, the reason why they get into things like marriage or sexuality or things like that is because it's the left who wants to basically force people. Most people on the right are like, look, fine. You want to be in a relationship with who you want to be in a relationship, go ahead, fine. That's on you. But it's the left who says, no, not only do you have to tolerate it, not only you have to be accepting of it, you have to celebrate it. If you are not willing to celebrate it, then you are a bigot and the law needs to come down on you. That's the reason why. And I'll just use California as an example. It didn't become an issue until the mayor of San Francisco, then Gavin Newsom, decided he was going to start marrying people in violation of California's Constitution and California law. It's like they're the ones that are forcing the issue to force people to celebrate it, right? No, so yeah, that's it. And then on abortion, one of the jobs of government is to protect people, right? In particular, to protect the innocent. The only reason why Republicans have an issue with abortion is largely because we're talking about protecting an innocent life, because abortion involves 3 lives. There's the father, who basically has no say once the deed is done. Then you've got the mother, who is the only one who has say, but then you also have a child. You have a child who is in the womb, and when Roe v. Wade was passed 50 years ago, science was significantly different than it is now, and we know more about life and the gestation period and all of that. And so the question now becomes, and I believe it should have always been the case, is not so much, I think reasonable people can disagree about whether or not abortion should be legal or when it should be legal. But the point is that when we don't really know or understand, or when there's still active debate in the science of when life begins, Should that be something? Should the ability to terminate or end that life be a constitutionally protected right? Because we know it's not a constitutionally enumerated right. But should it be a constitutionally protected right? I do not think so. Other people may, but in the end, it's looking like the Supreme Court likely will decide not. But anyway, all that having been said, there are pro-choice Republicans. There are Republicans. There are gay Republicans. There are Republicans who have voted for tax increases, who have voted for gun control, who have voted for any number of things that I wish they had not voted for. But you rarely see that when it comes to Democrats. You rarely see the blue dog moderate Democrat. Yeah, they don't really exist much anymore. Especially not in places like California. You might find them kind of at the local government level, but they are pretty much shouted down and told, you will fall in line or you will disappear from our party. That's generally how they tend to roll on the left. So yeah, towing the party line. Yeah, no, Democrats, no, you don't do it quite. You do it a lot more often, and for Politico to come down on Republicans about that shows just how biased Politico actually is. All right, let's move on. The January 6th committee. Now, keep in mind, the January 6th committee is doing this. It's more of they're now in the middle of their docudrama. They've done supposedly an investigation, meaning they've interviewed a bunch of people. They've both videotaped and they've done transcripts. They've both video recorded and they've got transcripts of all these folks that they've interviewed. Now, mind you, at the same exact time, right now, the Department of Justice they're actually involved in investigations of criminal behavior. Because they're trying to figure out, okay, they've arrested a bunch of people. They're trying to find out if anyone else needs to be arrested. There's all these witnesses and all these testimonies. And what the DOJ wants, well, because here's what's going to happen. When the January 6th committee's done, they're going to then afterwards, they're then going to say, or at least there's a belief that they're going to then say to the Department of Justice, we want criminal indictments on these people. Right? And they're going to want an immediate response from the Department of Justice. Now, the Department of Justice, the only information they're going to have from the committee is going to be the dog and pony show, the docudrama that we've all been watching. That's all they're going to have. They're not going to have the full depth and breadth of interviews, which, by the way, we know are all biased. We know they're all sham. But at least they have that's the complete information. If they're going to take a criminal referral from the House, then they at least need to have all the information that the House used in order to arrive at the decision to request or to request a criminal indictment. But that's not what's happening right now. What you got going on right now is they're saying, nope. We are not going to share the transcripts. We are not going to give you the information. We're gonna complete our dog and pony show. Now, mind you, they've already done all of their quote unquote real, recorded testimonies. Everything that's taking place right now, any live testimony that's taking place right now, they already know the answers to. Once again, dog and pony show. This is all a witch hunt. A well-televised, well-scripted witch hunt in order to basically go after Republicans, go after the president, and in general, their political enemies. But they're basically saying, no, we're not going to give you anything until after everything is done. And we don't even know if they're actually going to do it even then. For all we know, they're going to hold on to it. They're going to hide that information from them. I don't know if that's above board. But anyway, if the people who are actually going to be doing the criminal investigation, that are actually responsible for the that are actually going to be the ones who are responsible for the for filing criminal charges, don't you think that they ought to have the the information? Don't you think they ought to have all the transcripts so that they can hit the ground running, so that they can come back with a decision about whether or not they're going to file charges? You know, like I said, you would think that they would do that, but does not appear that they are willing to do that. Because, well, hey, why should we? Why should we actually give them information? Why should we? Because we're going to give them what we want to give them. And then when they don't file criminal charges, we're going to say, well, we did the best we could. But the problem is it's already out there in the court of public opinion. The thumb has already been put on the scale of public opinion. They already know exactly what it is that they want the people to think. They don't really care about what the facts are. They don't care about what the facts are. All they care about is making Donald Trump look bad in case he wants to run for president. All they care about is making any Republican who is even remotely connected to Donald Trump, who tweeted someone on his staff that day. Those are the folks that they want indicted. Equal justice is not their goal. Remember, they're the ones who, because of this investigation, not even this investigation, because of Russiagate and all the investigations, they're the ones who send law enforcement officers at dawn in tactical gear to Republicans' homes, right? People who have, you know, I mean, come on. I mean, Paul Navarro is such a danger that you need to send armed federal agents at the crack of dawn to raid his home. Rudy Giuliani is that dangerous? Really? No, it's not equal justice. By the way, just so you know, Eric Holder, the former Attorney General under Obama, he was held in contempt of Congress. And by the way, both parties voted to hold him in contempt of Congress relating to Fast and Furious, you know, the guns that Obama sold to Mexican drug cartels that wound up killing a federal agent. Yeah, that guy. They never requested an arrest. They never requested an arrest warrant for him. But, you know, he's a Democrat. These guys are Republicans. And, you know, so therefore, you know, justice does not have to be fair. Justice does not have to be equal, because, you know, it really in their eyes never is, because Republicans are all bad and all evil. All right, moving to our next story. So let's throw this out there. So imagine you and some of your coworkers, right? Let's say you work for somebody, you don't like your boss, right? Or you don't like where he stands on politics, right? And you write a public letter, a letter that you are going to share and put out there and distribute amongst the public. This is not a private communication, but you are going to, as an employee of this individual, right? As their employee, you are going to issue a letter talking about how much you hate your boss, how much you dislike your boss, how much you hate the positions that your boss has taken. Now, what do you think would happen to you if you did that? What would happen to me? Well, I work for myself. I have clients, but I'll put it this way. If I went out and I started bad-mouthing my clients and I did a public letter bad-mouthing my clients, if I did a video program talking bad about my clients and their politics, I'm willing to bet, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm kind of petty, but I'm willing to bet that they might terminate my contract. I might bet that they say your services are no longer required. I might bet that if I actually worked for somebody, if I were their employee, I'm willing to bet that I would probably get fired. Would that be unreasonable? I mean, would it be unreasonable for a boss to fire somebody who, you know, decided they're going to talk bad about them in the public square? Well, that's exactly what Elon Musk did. Let me clarify. SpaceX, a number of employees over at SpaceX, that's the that's the civilian or the commercial company, airline company, or not airline company, space travel company. There you go. Their whole goal is to get more people into space, to basically develop commercial space travel. That's their goal. They're working to develop commercial space travel. Anyway, a bunch of the employees decided they were going to get together and they were going to talk some trash about Elon Musk, right? Let's see. According to now, these are 3 unnamed employees, according to this letter, in an email from SpaceX president and COO. But there's no indication how many there were. SpaceX has terminated a number of employees involved in the letter, she wrote. The letter, solicitations, and general process made employees feel uncomfortable, intimidated, and bullied, or because the letter pressured them to sign onto something they did not feel reflected their views. So they weren't just putting out this letter, they were forcing and going after other people there at the company to try and force them to sign this letter, to try and get them, to try and they were trying to force them to get on this letter. So the funny part about it is that then they're surprised that they got fired. Once again, I ask you, should they expect to be fired? Is this something that is unreasonable? I mean, come on. First of all right, the goal of a company is, not necessarily the goal of a company, but companies kind of exist because they really want to try and promote and put the best foot forward when it comes to their company, right? Am I wrong? No, I'm not. I'm not wrong. So they want people to think positively of their company. Now, if you have someone, and they also, by the way, want employees to think positively of their company. So if you are in a company, if you are part of a company, and you are bad-mouthing that company, and you're trying to lead a mutiny in that company, why the heck would you not get fired? What kind of sense does that make? It makes absolutely no sense. Yes, I hear you. I know you hear me. It makes no sense. So you would expect to get fired. So the folks, what I would say to the folks over at SpaceX, I'm assuming it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that that was a bad idea if you want to keep your job. The reason why I know it doesn't take a rocket scientist is because clearly the rocket scientist did not get it. I cracked myself up there. You see what I did? Yeah, I know. I am my own best form of entertainment. So anyway, that's it for the folks over there at SpaceX. You guys, I want to say dumb as a bag of rocks, but definitely unwise that you thought that was cool. All right, let's move on over to the next one. All right, how many of you have seen Top Gun Maverick? Oh, I will just tell you, I was mad. I was really mad that they waited so long to actually put this one out, but they wanted to wait until the movie theaters were back open. And I am so glad they did, because I was so glad that I got a chance to enjoy this on a big screen. Phenomenal movie. I will just tell you, it had just enough hearkening back to the original Top Gun without being over the top. It had its own plot. It had its own plot line. A lot of the really good characters and references back to the old characters. It just really well done. And with the technology, with both the camera technology and the aerial technology, their plane technology, aviation technology, it just made for a stunning movie. Very well done. Very well done. But there are apparently some people out there who are not very happy with it. And the issue that they have with it is, in their eyes, it was, they didn't like it because it was too pro-military. So this person at taskandpurpose.com, his name is Alan McLeod, McLeod. Anyway, basically, he's calling it Pentagon propaganda, and he's saying it's pro-military, shocking investigation that the veterans are dunking on. Well, okay, so some veterans, obviously, first of all, understand this. Anytime you do a film of something, you're going to glorify stuff, right? You're going to put the best foot forward for it. Now, mind you, let's be real. So what they did was, in this film, they made it a point. They were able to use actual military assets. So they were on military bases. They were in military facilities. They were utilizing Air Force planes, Navy planes. And so as a result, the Air Force wanted to make sure that that they had a say over some of the narrative in terms of how the Navy was portrayed. I'm sorry, the Navy. In case I keep saying Air Force, because it's all about planes, I keep forgetting that it's the Naval Air Force. But they wanted to have some, they wanted to make sure that certain things were correct. They wanted to make sure that certain things were said and certain things were not said. And they even made sure that there was an officer who was there, who was reviewing scripts, who was, because once again, they are making available their facilities, their staff, as well as their machinery, right? Their planes and all that, in order for this movie to be made. So they had a right to be able to say, yeah, no, we're going to make sure that if you're going to talk about the military, it's going to be told in a certain way. And my attitude is, what is wrong with that? What is wrong with talking about the military in a positive manner? Why are you so upset that they're showing the military in a positive light? This one aspect, this one small portion of one branch of the military. What's your issue with that? These are probably also the folks that hate the fact that it's pro-American, because, America evil, America bad. We can't have anybody talking positively about the United States of America because that won't fit our communist, socialist, critical race theory, social justice, time to overthrow the government perspective, the one that we've been trying to promote all this time. So we can't have it. So anyway, once again, you've got a group of folks out there who are just hating on it. Let me just tell you, folks, if you get a chance to go see it on the big screen, you want to see it on the big screen. I know some of y'all, you got the big, 65, 70, 75, some of you 85-inch televisions with the Dolby surround sound at the house. It's great and wonderful. I got the big screen TV with the surround sound at the house myself. But there is nothing like watching it in the theater. And this was phenomenal. Anyway, if you get a chance, go watch it. If for no other reason than to piss off the America haters. Is that not reason enough? I don't know. Maybe not. Is reason enough for me. All right, time to move on to our parting shot. Parting shot. So you guys have seen the Joe Biden stickers that are put on, people keep putting on the pumps, the ones that say, I did that, referring to the fact that gas prices are so high, in no small part because of Joe Biden. This one, someone just decided, you know what? Forget the sticker. I'm just going to break out the Sharpie and make it happen. It says communist. For those of you, by the way, who are just listening to us on podcast, it's a gas pump where the person put in for a little over 14 and a half gallons, spent $80, and they're like, communist. Then they wrote on there in Sharpie, communist Democrats did this on purpose. By the way, this is what they're referencing. Because if you go back and you listen to Joe Biden when he was running, he said that he was going to get us off fossil fuels. He talked about the fact that he didn't care if gas prices went up, and as a result, I still remember Donald Trump saying under Biden it's going to go up to $7-8 a gallon. Well, we're over $6 a gallon now in California, and it's still rising. So President Trump may have been a little what's the word I'm looking for? He may have been telling the future, a little bit prophetic. Prophetic, yeah, that's the word. May have been a little bit prophetic when talking about that one. So anyway, that is That there be what's going on right there. Okay, well, that's going to be it for today. We very much appreciate you tuning in. I'm sorry we couldn't get you Rick Ector, but we'll try and have him on next week and talk about. He's got this big thing coming up that we want to talk to you about going on in Detroit, and we want to talk to you. I encourage all of y'all to show up to and support if you can. Mikey sent me a message basically saying, yeah, he couldn't. He just couldn't get in. He didn't have any Wi-Fi where he was at. So I hope that. I hope that I did not disappoint today. But once again, very much appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you liking, sharing, and encouraging your friends to do the same. Like, sharing, and subscribing. There you go. And encouraging your friends to do the same. Once again, Craig DeLuz here, 2A News, Conservative Views, and I am